So welcome everyone to today's virtual event. This is a joint HAR area networking meeting. We're happy to have so many different area networking groups joining us today. I think we have about 7 or 8 of them, so that's excellent. I'm going to share my screen just so everybody can see today's virtual event and today's panelists. We will be taking questions between each speaker. I'll try to moderate that as best I can. If we do miss a question, you can always reach out to us after the fact. Everybody has their contact information available for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so everybody can see the PowerPoint for today, and then we will get going. All right, so again, welcome to the virtual area networking meeting. We have several speakers lined up for you guys today. Bob Hale, Grant Harpold, Sean Dauphine, and Taki Rizvi. I am only on here as moderator, so I am not going to speak much longer. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our first speaker, Bob, and I think Sean, you're going to be popping up his presentation for us. So while Sean is getting that ready, I just want to let everyone know, please participate in the chat or the Q&A. If you are typing something into the chat, notice that you can type it into just panelists or panelists and all attendees. So you have 2 options there. If it's a comment or a question you'd like all attendees to be able to see, I encourage you to choose that option. We also have several HAR staff members on that are going to be watching, handling questions as well. So the best option would be to share with all attendees. That way they can answer those questions quickly in case we don't get to them. One last note, we are recording this and streaming it to Facebook. So if you miss anything, you can always go back and rewatch it. All right, so Bob, you are up.
All right, Christina, thank you. I was just thinking, I have spoken at area networking meetings for the last many, many years, and yet I've never spoken at one that had over 1,200 people in attendance. So this is a first and really exciting opportunity to reach a lot of members. So what has HAR done in the last month, basically? And so I just want to cover some of these real quickly. I'm going to do it by department, which will make it a little bit easier. The first thing is Taki has rolled out this past Saturday the virtual open house tool, and so we have rider signs for that in the Super Center now that are available. Also, he's working on the 3D tour, and there you need a camera. So Renee Galvan negotiated with Rico to get the Rico Theta V for HR members at $319, or you could go buy it on Amazon for $377, but it's better to save the $60 and get it at the Super Center. We've had well over 200 cameras already ordered. We have more on order now. Also, the members can order and pay for lock boxes and any supplies online and pay for them online, and then pick them up between 11 and 1 Monday through Friday at the loading dock, and that way there's no physical contact. All right, training. Rita has been very busy. She's got 155 virtual courses planned for April and May with over 12,000 attendees. A couple of Mondays ago on her HR COVID-19 virtual event series, Sean and Taki spoke, and that day there were over 8,000 views. And since it's recorded, there have been many more since then. She's also negotiated with CE Shop for a 40% discount off of CE courses. And for any HAR fee-based course, there's a $20 discount. Social media, Christina has been busy. She interviews every Monday morning, as you know, somebody. We just had the SBA regional director. She had a doctor who's working on a vaccine for the virus. OneView had over 12,500. So it's an incredibly new way to communicate with 38,000 members. Claudia, who runs the video department, is doing a number of videos for agents about how to shoot videos, proper lighting, proper staging, proper, how to hold the camera, sound, all of that. So watch those. Communications, Matt's been very busy with doing the FAQ. So HR.com/, pardon me, coronavirus. He spends a great deal of time every day finding out from NAR, TAR in the state and the county and the city, the latest updates on this, whether it's SBA loans and employment compensation or stay-at-home orders or whatever. So he's been extremely busy with that. And then Roz does our member and consumer surveys. And the latest member survey she just completed indicated that 34% of our members will primarily work from home after this is over. They found it to be very beneficial. And so that's what they're going to be doing. MLS is the big issue, or the big takeaway probably in Comgate, in that the third quarter MLS and Comgate fees will be waived for anyone that paid second quarter fees. And that's a savings of over $5 million to the members. And I've encouraged other MLSs and other portals to do something along those lines to help their members as well. And I'm not aware of anyone in the country that's doing anything even remotely like that. Membership, if you move from company to company, the $20 transfer fee is waived. And they now have phone and online support 7 days a week versus just 5 days a week. And no more D keys, so there's no reason to go to HAR to pick up a key. Those are issued over the phone to your cell phone. The key's been incredibly busy, and he's going to share that with you very shortly in the technology department. He's got programmers and developers all over the world, from Brazil to Pakistan to India, you name it. And he's got a whole team here in Houston. And they have literally been working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not all of them, but some of them have been working at all times. And they're developing the 3D tours that he'll talk about, the virtual open houses that went live, the virtual showings that is being developed, the media uploader, and all of these will become MLS Platinum services, but for now they're going to be free to all members during the pandemic. The thing I really enjoyed is reading Inman about Realtor.com has created a virtual open house product. Zillow has created a 3D home tour product, and HAR has created both. So not to be outdone by either, we really lead the pack. So now let me just cover a few items. Whether you believe the country is reopening too fast or not soon enough, I think we can all agree that we're approaching the second act of this dilemma. One in which either the economy rebounds and we all live happily ever after, or we all end up making each other sick in a brutal second wave of the coronavirus infection. We have no clue as to which it's going to be. It'll probably be somewhere in the middle. But we do know one thing, that homes have never been more important than they are today. Why is that? For one simple reason. People are staying home for 1 to 2 to 3 months at a time. They've never experienced their home like that. They work, they go to dinner, they come home, they go to bed, they get up the next day, they go to work. But now they're in the home all the time, and they're discovering, I didn't really know my home like I thought. The home's either too big or it's too little, or I don't have a big enough yard for the kids to play in, or I've got to ride an elevator with strangers. These are factors they probably never really considered that they are considering now. And after this is over, many people are going to want to move because they know there could be a second wave of this. And if they're locked down again for 2 or 3 months, they want to be in a place that they love. So there's going to be a giant, I think, pent-up demand. The realtors are going to be very, very busy. Now, the question has risen, you know, we had a recession 2007 to 2009. Are we about to get into that same position? And if you listen to the economists for HAR, Zillow, Realtor.com, and others, they say no, not at all, because the two are totally different. The real estate recession, you know, everybody could get a mortgage or two mortgages or three mortgages. All you had to do is sign a piece of paper. You didn't have to prove income. And today, credit scores are much higher, debt to income ratios much lower, and actually incomes are verified by lenders. Additionally, then there was a huge oversupply of housing. You had all the foreclosures, more houses on the market, less buyers, and the prices went way down. That's not the case today. There's not an oversupply of houses. And they don't predict a great shortfall. There'll be some, but NAR Lawrence Yun said it's going to bounce back as soon as we get somewhere near normalcy. It's going to be right back to where we were. The other thing we're seeing different is the move to online virtual services. That was here before. I mean, we've all used DocuSign and other things, but the virus is accelerating greatly the use of virtual products. Instacart versus grocery store. Instacart's hiring 30,000 people to meet the demand that consumers have now. They don't want to go to the grocery store. They want to order it online and have it delivered in 2 hours. Netflix versus movies. When people can watch movies in the theater on their TV for $5 to $10 versus go to the movie and with popcorn and parking pay $40 for two people, I think it's going to change their habits. Amazon versus going to the mall. You go to the mall, you find a place to park, you hope you remember where you parked. You go into the store, you find the shirt and you love it, but they don't have your size. You can order it online on Amazon and have it the next day. DoorDash versus restaurants. It's become so convenient to call DoorDash your favorite or Uber Eats and have whatever food you want brought to you in a matter of an hour. But the big one, how many of you before March had heard of or used Zoom? In February, yeah, Christina, of course. In February, I had never heard the word Zoom. I had no clue as to what it was. And now I have at least 6 Zoom calls a day, usually more, but at least that. So who is Zoom going to upset? It's going to upset the airlines and the hotels and the restaurants and the Ubers and all of the people involved in travel. Stefan Swanepoel told me the other day, he said, in February, he lives in California. He had a 30-minute speech in New Jersey. Got on an airplane, transferred, took him 7 hours to get there, checked in his hotel, gave his speech the next day, flew home for 7 hours. And it cost not a small fortune, but it cost a lot of money to give that 30-minute speech. He said today he would do it on Zoom. He wouldn't do that 2 days of travel and expense. So Zoom is going to change, I think, everything. In December, Zoom had 10 million users a day. Today, it has 300 million users a day. Its value is $50 billion. It's worth as much as American, United, and Southwest Airlines combined. Imagine that. Never heard of a company a month ago, and that's worth as much as 3 large airlines combined. Now think about any part of the transaction that's labor intensive is going to be subject to automated disruption because consumers are going to want it quicker, faster, smoother, easier. We'll see decreasing fixed costs like rents, office space. A lot of businesses have way too much office space when people are going to be working more from home. And it's just going to change that dramatically, I think. And a true home office is going to be a must. So if you're a realtor, for example, it'll apply to many, many professions, but a realtor is going to need a really good home office. And you're going to need a camera at eye level with good lighting. And because most of your business or a lot of your business is going to be conducted right in front of that camera. Because consumers are going to want to do that. You're going to see more virtual and cloud-based services. The prediction is agents will use many more tools provided by their broker and their MLS as opposed to individually going out and buying all these different tools that they've done in the past. More e-signatures, more 3D tours, more virtual showings, and more virtual open houses. The virtual open house is less hassle for the owner, and it incredibly increases the number of buyers. So instead of having maybe 10 or 12 come to an in-person open house, you may have 100. By the time it sells, you may have 1,000 people visiting that open house, looking at it online. The governor just issued an order today allowing virtual notaries. So that can be done with a video camera. You don't have to do it in person anymore. That's one of the most archaic things in our transaction. I mean, it should have been done a long time ago. But what we're seeing is the virus is speeding up the adoption and the use of these new virtual tours. So what should we do is, number one, stay positive. Don't be negative. It's going to be okay. Stay positive. Stay in contact with your clients. Don't call and say, hey, I just have a new listing. Call and say, how are you and the family doing? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Brad Inman told me the other day that he went out in the front yard, and when he opened the front door, there was a box sitting there. And there were pork chops in it, and chicken, and dessert, and vegetables. And he said all the things that he likes. And it turned out his realtor had delivered it. And he said, I was just thinking of you. He said, I'll use that realtor the rest of my life because he cared about me. And then learn about all the new innovative tools that are out there. I mean, just look at what the key's creating. At least learn those, but learn others. And so when you do get back to work full time, you're ready to hit it. You're ready to use these things, and you're going to survive and you're going to thrive. There's no question about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. I do see a lot of comments about what you're saying. Some people are saying that they're loving Zoom. They're loving that it's a great opportunity to get educated, the best way to get educated. Others are saying, I miss in-person classes and meetings. One person said that they really enjoy being able to see all of you, that they don't think that they could have done this without this pandemic. So this is wonderful. We do have.
Let me make a comment. We're talking to Rita yesterday, and we can train about 40 people in our training room at HAR, and then there are 3 branches that could train. She's putting on courses now where all of them are done virtually, and we could have 1,000 people instead of 40 or 100. And we'll probably go back to, I mean, we'll never get away from in-person classes, but the virtual, all the universities around the United States realize this is one way of really, really reaching everybody. So, if we could train 40, but then another 1,000 online, it's just gonna Zoom. Play on words there.
That's great. A couple questions for you, Bob. Actually, one is a suggestion. If HAR could look into negotiating the price for the Ricoh Theta Z1 instead of the V. It's actually, the Z1 is actually a little more expensive, but has a higher grade camera. So that's something that we could.
All right. Yeah, they could look at that, sure.
Yeah. So a lot of questions I'm seeing both on Facebook and on the Zoom call here about when we are going to start displaying physical open houses on har.com again.
Yeah, the HRS board met today and discussed that at length. and voted to do that when the governor goes into phase 2,
Okay.
which is probably 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that'll give key time to develop HR.com's ability to access those from Matrix as well.
Okay.
But they thought phase 1 is a very limited opening. You know, you can only have 25% in restaurants or movies or malls. Phase 2 will jump to 50%. So the feeling was, you know, be cautious and be safe.
Okay.
Let me ask people too. I've had a number of brokers today actually ask if we could put together like a Ziploc baggie of a mask, rubber gloves, booties, hand sanitizer, and wipes that they could have at their open houses or their showings. Because you can only wear a mask and gloves once. It's not like oh, I got my mask and gloves. They're good for one time. Then you got to throw them away and get another one. So, and for people to come into a house to see it as a showing or an in-person open house, they're going to need those things. I mean, the governor made it clear you really need to have a mask on. We're not going to arrest you or fine you, but you got to have a mask on. So, and gloves for their protection. So, I just wonder if the group believes that's something that HAR should look at, buying in bulk, selling it, whatever it costs us in the super center. Number of brokers asked me today about it. So
Yeah, I do see a few comments from members saying they can't find any masks. And so I think that's probably an issue for everybody at this time, is finding these supplies. So, okay, great. So there were a couple comments that they don't think virtual is going to overtake in person, but they do love the options it provides. So that's great.
let me address that. We talked today too about that. And it's not one or the other. Why not do both? So if you're going to have an open house from 3 to 5 on Sunday, let's say, do the virtual open house at 2:30 to 3. Then you've got it recorded. People can watch it anytime they want. Otherwise, we talked, it's like a wedding. You plan it for a year, you spend a lot of money, it's fantastic, and it's over, and then you can't remember anything about it unless you videotape it. So the open house is exactly like that. I mean, why limit it just to a handful of people that are going to come in when, you know, the whole world could be exposed to it? Do both.
Yeah, very good. A couple more, and then we're going to get into our next speaker. There were some questions about when the HAR offices will be opening, and also when they do open, are we still going to have weekend support?
I would imagine we would, and we'll probably open. If you notice, Zillow with 5,000 employees has told their employees they may work from home through the remainder of the year. They're going to have a very, very thin skeleton staff because they've discovered their employees are as effective at home as they are in the office. In fact, they're much more effective because they're much happier. They don't have that commute. And so I know I talked to NAR. They're looking at, you know, a lot of home working through the end of the year, gradually opening up their 2 offices with the skeleton crew. So we'll probably do that as well.
Okay, great. I do see a lot of questions about the things that Taki is going to be talking about in a little bit, the virtual open houses and the 3D and 360 cameras, questions about the Ricoh camera. So we will get to all of that.
Yeah.
Very good. People are excited to hear what you're having to say, Bob. So thank you so much for that.
Sure. You bet. Thank you.
So up next, we are going to have HAR's legal counsel, Grant Harpold. I'm going to get your slides up, Grant.
All right.
And then we can get going here. So take it away, Grant.
Well, good afternoon. Thanks everybody being here and to watch and listen and provide input. We really appreciate it. So I'm going to talk about NAR's new rule, the Clear Cooperation Rule or Clear Cooperation Policy. And I think we have an opening shot here of the PowerPoint.
That
I
is
don't
not
see the
correct.
PowerPoint,
You can't
but I'll
see.
keep talking.
Okay.
I keep. So NAR the NAR Board of Directors back in November put together this rule that was passed, and it came. And so to be clear, this rule that we're now implementing here locally came from NAR. It was not an HAR rule; it was an NAR rule passed by the Board of Directors last November. And so what it addressed was essentially that if you're going to decide, or if your client, actually the seller, decides to keep a property off the MLS, then you cannot publicly market the property. And the theory behind that is that if it's off the MLS, but another member of the MLS sees the property somehow through whatever marketing is being done, and then goes to the MLS to try to find out about the property for themselves or for their client, and they can't find it, it's unfair to the fellow member to not be able to access that property, even though it's being marketed to the rest of the public. And so it's kind of if you're going to market it to if you're going to market it to the world, then it at least needs to be available to the MLS. And that was kind of the theory behind the rule. And so that rule will become effective May 1. And so what that means is that any listing going forward from May 1 will be subject to this rule. And so you say, well, what do you mean by public marketing? Well, first of all, let's just talk about, this should be a small percentage of listings that we're dealing with. So this may not ever come up in a listing that you have. But if your client chooses to not put the property on the MLS, then it can only be shown, and we call this an office listing, it can only be shown or promoted or marketed within that broker's office. So for example, if your client says no MLS, and you still have to do the seller authorization to keep it off the MLS, Form 300, that property or that promotion of that property can only be done within the confines of the office. So broker, the agents in the office, and the clients of agents and the broker that belong to that office. So you're sort of put into a box, and you have to stay in that box. If you come out of the box and you start promoting, or the property is somehow promoted, whether it be by the seller, by you, or somebody on your behalf, if you start marketing the property beyond that box, then it has to go on to the MLS. And it has to do so within one business day of when that marketing event takes place. So today is Wednesday. You have a listing that's off MLS. You put a sign in the yard today. By Thursday, tomorrow, you need to put it on the MLS. That's the rule. And so public marketing is a real broad term. And so I think like I said, the best way to define it is if you climb out of your box, out of your broker office, agent, client box, then you're probably subject to public marketing of the property, and then you has to go on MLS. So that's the new rule that's coming into play and will be effective May 1. In conjunction with that rule, HAR has come up with a coming soon, and the coming soon is a great idea, and it's kind of addresses this issue that if the property is not ready and you need to take some more photos, do some repairs, then it goes into the MLS, but it sits there as its status is coming soon. And that's a status that can sit there for 14 days. After 14 days, or sometime during that 14-day period, it needs to go active. If it doesn't go active by the 14th day, then it will automatically be withdrawn. And so if it's in this coming soon status, you cannot show it. So that's something to think about. It's you cannot show it. You can have photos or you cannot. Use of photos is optional. You can either have them on there or not. And so it's a once again, it's a status that is maybe not for everybody. you know, the goal of when you take a listing, of course, the goal is get it on the market, get it active, and get it sold. And coming soon is sort of a baby step to that process, but it allows you to still have it on the MLS and still market it. Now, it's not going to be marketed on HAR.com or any other public facing websites, but it still is you know, can be marketed because you have it on the MLS. So that's the key, is that this coming soon status means that you are putting on the MLS and you're in compliance with the new clear cooperation policy. So that's a good thing. And so that the coming soon will be start effective May 1 also, and that's an opportunity you have to use that function. And like I said, that's probably something good that's come out of or at least as we sit here now, that's come out of the clear cooperation rule. Now, going back to the listing agreement, starting May 1, you need to start using the new listing agreement. TR has come out with a new listing agreement, and actually we have part of it up here on the screen. Paragraph 6 is the kind of the key section 6 of the new listing agreement, because right at the very onset, very beginning of that paragraph, it explains the clear cooperation rule. So that's there for your client to read and understand. And so there it is. It's set forth there so that if they choose the off MLS, they kind of understand the process of that rule. And on the next page, which is the still part of paragraph 6 of the new listing agreement, it sort of gets some acknowledgments from the seller, making sure that they understand, presuming they read this, that they at least tells them, again, here's all the things that you're acknowledging, that you're understanding, that you're agreeing to relative to if you choose off MLS. And so it's right there. I think it's laid out pretty well. This new listing agreement should be used May 1 and forward. If you have a current listing, you can still act under the old rule, meaning that the clear cooperation policy that we're putting in place May 1 does not apply to a current listing pre-May 1. I want to be clear about that. Now, if your current listing expires after May 1 and the client renews it or extends it after May 1, then we believe and we're telling you that the rule applies. And so you would probably want to then transition into the current form listing agreement, which is out there and which is available. And so I think one other thing that Bob said earlier, I want to bring up, is this notary issue. I think that's, to me, notarization process seems sort of like prehistoric to begin with. And now with the governor allowing a notary to be done, or a notarized presentation to be done by video conference and not in person, I think that's big. And even I think hopefully from there, other notary type issues will start being loosened up, which allow the process of executing documents relative to a real estate transaction or any sort of transaction. I think it's a great way to streamline some of the time and effort that it takes currently, or at least before the governor changed the rule, to get a document signed. So I think that's a good thing. I think we covered everything. Anything else we need to cover, Christina?
No, we do have some questions that came in.
Okay. All right.
So one of the first questions we got was, can we require masks to be worn for showings?
Sure you can. I mean, if that's what your client, the seller, wants, that's what you should do. Or if that's your advice to the seller client and the client says, yes, let's do that, then that's what you should do. So I think so, yes.
Okay. A lot of questions about how coming soon works with sellers. One comment, we cannot control our seller, so how can a broker be held liable by the seller's actions? A few other comments similar to that. Do you have any?
Well, I think those are good questions. And I think those were issues discussed back in November with NAR, even leading up to NAR. It's like, the broker now has to be the taskmaster of making sure the seller complies with the MLS rule. And, you're right. So, and that's why I think the new listing agreement lays it out pretty good, lays it out in two places. And so I would certainly emphasize that in a new listing if this is an issue. If you're not, if you're going on the MLS, bypassing go. I mean, you're done. This is not an issue. But if it is an off MLS listing, which should be for a unique property, understand, because most properties do better, if not all properties do better by being on MLS and letting the broad market seeing them and getting the best possible market price for your property. But maybe there's a small situation where you need it off the MLS. Reemphasize what's in the agreement. If they start to, get close to the line of crossing over, pull out the listing agreement, show that language to them again, and remind them to the extent or if you're advised of it, or if they ask you, that's that's a rule that the member is bound by, and it's for the interest for all the members, and ultimately for the best interest of the consumer.
Okay. A few other questions here. If you could clarify, coming soon is only visible to agents.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
It's not. It won't be on HAR.com.
I would say that does not stop them from marketing it to other people. The agent and the seller can market it as they see fit once it's in the MLS. That's the key. It needs to be in the MLS. Now, the MLS is not going to market it for you. We're not sending it. It's only for subscribers in the MLS.
Okay. Yeah, I do see a comment, kind of a question. So what happens if the seller posts on social media that he is selling his house? Does that mean it has to be in the MLS the next day?
That's our interpretation of the rule. Is if now, presuming there's a listing agreement in place and that relationship exists, yes.
Okay. And I'll go ahead and ask the question. I haven't seen it here, but I've seen it on every other call. Do we mean next business day? Do we mean 24 hours?
One business day.
One business day.
Back to my example, if I stick a sign in the yard today, it better be in the MLS by tomorrow.
Okay, excellent. We do have one question. If I get a new listing today, can I use the new listing agreement?
You can, sure. Great. You can start using them now. They're available. Okay. And but effectively May 1, but sure, you can use it right this moment. Sure.
A question about why agents are being restricted but not builders. If being on the MLS is the right thing to do for the consumer, why are builders exempt?
I would say it's not just builders, it's new construction listings with multiple units, okay? So if you have a builder that just has a single property and say like Oak Forest, the policy would apply. With the exemption is for a whole subdivision, okay? So you've got 100 new construction properties out there, some are built and some are not, and you may have an exclusive. So the expectation is that you don't have to list all 100 properties. You would list, like you do today, one or more, as many as you want. Or if you had a high rise, you don't have to put every unit in there. You would put the ones that you want to list.
Okay. And a question, why does this not apply to rentals?
Again, pretty much the same reason. That's one exception that the NAR has allowed us to carve out and not required to be part of the policy.
Okay. All right, so looks like a lot of the same kind of questions. Let's see. Someone said I'm confused, so let's make sure that they are not confused. With the coming soon on MLS, can a sign be put in the yard stating it's coming soon?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Just another quick question here. Why can't the public see coming soon? That question a few times, actually.
Well, presumably the reason you're doing coming soon because it's not ready for the market. It's got a repair issue. It's got some photos you need to do, some staging, something that says, "Hey, I'm not ready, and we need to do something." Client, agent together to get this house ready. Otherwise, if it's ready, then it should be active and be on the market and let the, get the full process going.
Very good. What, a good question here. What is the purpose of this new rule?
Well, kind of like I said in the beginning, is that that people were complaining, other members were complaining that they would see a property for sale through a sign or through social media, through somewhere, and they would go to the MLS to find out about that property, and they couldn't find it for them or for their client, more importantly. And so it came about that if one member, if one of your fellow MLS members is publicly marketing the property but not providing it on the MLS to the rest of the agents to see and to provide to their clients, then perhaps that's not fair to the fellow members. And if we're going to have this system, let's make it fair to everyone and ultimately fair to the consumer. So if you're going to market it, put it on the MLS so everybody can be a part of that process.
Okay. Two more quick questions, and then we will get to Sean, who's going to be speaking next. Anyway, does this mean that the incomplete listing is going to be going away?
No, so you would still use an incomplete listing. Incompletes are only available to the agent putting it in, okay? So that's as you're getting ready to make it active and you're gathering the content for it, it's incomplete. So you'd still use that status, and then you make it either coming soon or active ready, right? So the whole key is about, as Grant was mentioning, the advertising. So as soon as it's advertised to the public, it needs to be in the MLS. Once it's in the MLS, you're free to do what you want. You and your seller can advertise it anywhere you'd like, including coming soon signs.
Okay. One more question here. I have a signed listing agreement and a signed 300 form to listing in June. My client is older and does not do electronic signatures. Am I okay with going active next month under the old agreement? My client is out of the country now.
Under the current listing agreement, yes.
Okay. Very good.
And I think and I think we mentioned this earlier, that we did revise Form 300 to incorporate even more language telling the seller about this new rule and about public marketing, public advertising. And so there's a lot of information if the seller decides to go that route in the listing agreement, and also in Form 300, the authorization not to exclude from MLS. There's new language in there. We redid it in order to allow the licensee to show that information to the seller so that they're fully informed.
Okay. Is Form 300 required for a coming soon status?
No.
Okay. Excellent. So
Because just to follow up on that,
mhm.
if you're Form 300, if you're going off MLS, coming soon is you're going on MLS.
Okay.
Because it's now a status, or will be a status on MLS
All right.
in
So
Matrix.
one more time, because there's still a little confusion. So give me the process again about marketing coming soon. So the question here was like, you can't market or coming soon status to the public until you put it in the MLS.
Grant, let me adjust, because I had this question before, and it's
Okay.
the MLS is not going to market your coming soon listing, okay? When you put it in the MLS, it's only going to be for participants. We're not sending it to Zillow. We're not sending it to HAR.com, but that does not stop the listing agent from marketing it, okay? So the listing agent can put a coming soon sign in the yard. They can market it on social media. They can do whatever they want as long as it's in the MLS for other participants. That's the key.
Very good. All right. So I do see some other questions coming in that are probably be similar to what you're discussing, Sean. So if you want to go ahead and, do you have a presentation you're showing us?
Yeah, I will. So
one more quick question here. Is the old farm and ranch listing agreement still usable? I don't see an update for that.
Yeah, I think you should be fine, yes.
Okay.
all right, so let me get in here.
And I do see some more feedback about rentals wishing that they were included in this. So
Well, I would say this is a new rule, and with like a lot of new rules, there may be some amplification or adjustments as the rule gets in place and people start using it. But that would come from NAR ultimately.
Yeah, and I'll say the local coming soon rules that we developed, this was the MLS advisor group over the course of 4 policy meetings sat down and went through these rules. So how long can it be in coming soon? What status does it go to afterwards? All of these decisions regarding coming soon were discussed and debated. Some of them were unanimous and some required a hand vote. So again, you know, this committee is going to look at this policy as we move forward and tweak it as necessary in regards to coming soon. I mean, we're stuck with the clear cooperation policy. That's an NAR policy that's mandated. So the whole thing about putting the listing in the MLS within 1 business day, that will not change, okay? Whether it goes into active or coming soon, that's what we decide locally.
okay. So what happens if the property is not ready after the 14 days?
Right now, the listing, if the agent does not make it active within those 14 days, it automatically converts to withdrawn status, okay? And at that point, it's still available to other participants, so it complies with the NAR policy. They can make it active when they're ready.
Excellent. So do you want to go ahead and share your screen with us,
Yeah,
Sean?
I'm sure there's a lot of questions. I would encourage them. I put on there, har.com/coming soon. You know, a lot of information's there. The rule changes. You can comment on that page as well, and your comments will be answered. So we don't have to answer them all here right now. So I'll go ahead and start. I'm going to give a market update. Let's see. Very briefly. Okay, so I want to start out by saying that I am not an economist, so I'm not going to be doing any kind of forecasting. What I'm going to show today are, you know, the stats and what's happening in the MLS today and since the pandemic compared to last year. And I'll say when this the pandemic first started, we started, you know, every day we were collecting key metrics just to kind of measure the impact of the pandemic as we moved along. We quickly realized that daily stats, you know, as the weeks went by, we started working with the Texas A&M Real Estate Center to really develop an automated way to produce these reports and do it on a weekly basis. Okay, and so what I'm about to show you are those stats that we worked with the Texas A&M Real Estate Center to produce. And what they do is they compare what happened this time this year compared to the same time last year. And they're doing that on a weekly basis. The good news is, you know, we are seeing the market start to rebound. I mean, there are, you know, new listings going into the system. There are listings going under contract. Sales are happening. So I am happy to report that the things are moving. You know, as expected, you know, the market is slower. I mean, I think we all expected that. So let's look at some of these numbers. So here is reported closings, okay? And so the graph starts from January 1, the blue line and the orange line is 2019. And we started off the year very well. We were positioned to have another record-breaking year compared to last year, which was also a record-breaking year. And it looks like, you know, the deals that were in the pipeline when the pandemic started are still closing. So you can look for the month of March that our press release came out, and closings were actually up 8% for the month of March. Towards the end of March and in April, we started seeing a bit of a decline, as you would expect, right? And so if you just look at, you know, these stats are current through Monday. So if you look at the numbers for last week compared to that same week last year, we're only off 15% in terms of sales. And the week before that, we were pretty even. So we're expecting April will be down compared to last April. We don't know the percentage yet, but look for that press release. I think the second Wednesday of May, that will come out and we'll give a full month's reporting for April. So we'll see how closings end up for the entire month. I expect them to be down, but not significantly. Pendings, you know, the latest report on this statistic is encouraging. You can see that that's kind of bottomed out a couple of weeks ago and is starting to pick back up. So we're only down, if you look at last week, 24% from that same week in 2019. And so it looks like we've kind of reached a bottom and things are kind of just are going along at that rate. So that's encouraging. We hope that trend line continues upward. New listings. same trend. So, they are coming on the market, only down 17% for this last week compared to the same week last year. So that's an encouraging trend line as well, to see these new listings coming onto the market. Off-market activity, these are listings that have gone into withdrawn, terminated, or expired during that same time, and really saw a little bit of an increase there towards the end of March, probably the last week, first week of April, but that's kind of flattened out. So we're really seeing, off-market activity really in line with where we were last year, which is another good sign. I'm going to get into showing appointments. So this is some data I've aggregated from Showing Time. So for those folks that use Showing Times, these are the showing appointments that were reported through their system. And you can see, as we went into the end of March and the 1st of April, showings were off significantly. At that point, we're probably 40 to 50% off in the number of showings, appointments made. You can see, though, that this last week, compared to the same week last year, we're only down 21%. So that's picking up, and that's encouraging. As expected, showings would be down because of the concerns sellers and buyers have in entering these properties. And so I think, in today's environment, it's more important than ever to make sure your digital marketing is on point. All of the great tools that Taki's about to show you, are something that you're going to want to take advantage of in this environment when, there's still concerns about physically visiting a property. So I'm excited for Taki to be able to demonstrate some of those products.
Sean, a quick request to show the graph of sales in 2020 compared to 2019 again.
I'm going to run that through there. All right, so there's your closings by week. So you can see we were doing pretty well through about, really through March. April has started kind of the pipeline is slowed down a bit, right? But anything that was under contract seems to be closing. So I'm going to go ahead and move down. I'm almost finished here. I just wanted to remind everyone that's on this the webinar that we have one more webinar, is the last one in our series, I believe, tomorrow. And Dr. Ted Jones, the chief economist for Stewart Title, will be the presenter. He's going to have access to all of the statistics I showed you, but he does a great job in forecasting. So he's got great numbers on what the market did after Harvey and other natural disasters, including Ike. This is a little bit different, and we also have the issue with oil prices right now. So we kind of have a double whammy to be forecasting. So I'm interested to see his presentation as much as anyone. So, as you registered for today, you can go to hr.com/webinar and go ahead and get registered for Ted's presentation.
That's great, Sean. Thank you so much. And we do have more virtual events coming in May. We are getting those all scheduled in. We probably won't have any the first week of May, but be on the lookout for the second week of May. And as Sean said, it's hr.com/webinars to register for those. And you don't want to miss Ted C. Jones. He always has a packed house, so I'm sure we'll have a packed live stream for that too. There were a few quick questions, Sean, if you don't mind. People were asking, can they get this content from Can they get this themselves in Matrix?
I'm not sure Matrix is the best. These statistics were created specifically for this event. So with closed sales, you always have a lag time of reporting. So the methodology that Texas A&M is using fits in a little bit better. We are going to make these reports that I showed available to members inside of the member-only portal in the statistics section. So we're working with our communications department to get that rolled out shortly. So again, all of the graphs that I showed will be available to members here in the next week.
Excellent. We did have one more follow-up coming soon question. When a listing is coming soon and goes in MLS, does the listing agreement begin that date or when the listing goes active?
The listing agreement's effective as of the list date on the agreement. Now, in regards to days on market, which is a question we get often, days on market does not count while it's in coming soon. It would start once the listing goes active. So your days on market will start when it goes active. Okay,
very good. And people are requesting this information from you weekly, Sean. So they're saying this is very helpful. And yes, to the people that are asking, the session tomorrow with Ted Jones will also be recorded, and we will likely be streaming that to Facebook as well. So we will confirm that, but we will definitely be recording it. One more time, Angela said, when can we resume physical open houses?
We looks like we're waiting. Bob, you want to answer that?
Yeah, anybody can do it anytime they want. HAR does not tell anybody what they can or can't do. They can do them all day long if they want, but what the board decided was we will put them in the matrix and then go on to HR.com whenever phase 2 of the governor's plan goes into effect, which right now is probably mid-May.
All right, very good. So that looks like all the questions, just a lot of people confirming and thanking you, Sean. So thank you again. So it's time for our final speaker, Taki Rizvi. Taki.
Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. And so we're going to go through a little bit of how do we help as an organization, our members. So what we did is we looked at it that there's a need of our members to show properties and to consumers and market that. An open house was one of the ways which agents use that. So we said, okay, if we wanted to do just like a Zoom meeting, can we do a virtual of that? How can we do that? So what we noticed first that agents start using, some of them started using like Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And we look at those platforms and we wanted to do a simple way, hey, just add a link and allow that and to let that go. But then we realized that, look, that's not gonna, that creates some problems, some other problems. One of the problems is this: on Facebook, when you are on the Facebook, you are creating an event that anybody can join that Facebook, right? So anybody who have access to that, they can join that. Then you are having an open house where people are attending and those list is visible to others, okay? So that list is available to others. If anybody is asking question, other agent can see that. So we felt this is not really beneficial for our members. So what we did is we said, look, why don't we take a hard step and by developing our own live streaming platform. And again, believe me, we didn't have a lot of time to do that, but we are proud to tell you that we have built that system, which is being perfected as we are going through this process. We had a beta group which tested about a week, 2 weeks ago. Then we released that last week for our members at large. And now we are still in the 3rd week of that, where we will actually, but I love the feedback I'm receiving from our members, which is helping us make it better. So we are getting feedback in regard to guidelines on do's and don'ts, regarding, what are the technical difficulties they are seeing. And so we have addressed many. Trust me, we've been constantly improving that. So if you tried this last week, I will assure you when you try this week, you will have a different experience. Some limitations we do have, which is, what type of connections you have. So let me just dive into the presentation real quickly and share that with you. So virtual open house, as I mentioned to you, we created guidelines. One of the things is that you can actually have, for one property, you can have 2 open houses, 2 30-minute open houses in a day. So that's the maximum you can do for one property. Again, we keep it 30 minutes. The reason is that you wanted to make sure 30 minutes looks like for some very long, for some not too long. But really 30 minutes, we have watched some of the videos, looked at it, and 30 minutes is a really decent time for you to start from outside of the house, then walk through inside, and spend the time, engage the consumers who are watching that by letting them ask you questions throughout the open house process. And what we have done is we have built a system where all those questions are coming to you. You are looking that, and answering those. And on top of that, we have kind of looked at and put out very simple, like what are the other technical requirements, like connection wise. One of the things we notice that agents sometimes don't pay attention, that is it phone is mute or not. When you're recording the video, you need to click on, it's by default on, but agent can mute themselves, so make sure it's unmute. Do not disturb, it was a big one. So what happens whenever you're doing a live streaming, if you get a phone call, if you get interruption, that will pause your streaming. And so what you wanted to do is not do that, because when you pause it, the users on the other end will see a message which says, please wait while the stream resume. So we recommend agents put your phone on do not disturb. After you're done, you can enable it, and do that. And the app, if you have iPhone and Android, it works. But I just wanted to let you know, if you have an iPhone 6 or an older phone, you may not experience, there's a lot of, it's not only connectivity, but also your quality of the phone as well. Camera is good and things of that nature. And we recommend you do a vertical, which is a portrait mode, not a landscape mode. And there are many reasons for that. But some of the members have said and recorded actually landscape. But right now, I just want to let you know, the mode we support is portrait mode. So it's very easy. It's available right now. You go in, search for virtual open house. You press a button, say you want to create an event, and everything ties with MLS. So Sean and I work very close together on that. So when you put a property address, directly it is data which is coming from MLS, which is surface here. You just do that, boom, everything is there. It's filled out with a short description of the property. You just only have to select start date and time. I'll tell you that it takes 1 minute to create a virtual open house. So it's as simple as that. And when you're done, you get this beautiful page which is created for that. Again, this page is created. This is a detail which we are calling open house detail page. So that's ready with some call to actions, add to calendar, share. So users who you share that with, whether it's your client or whether on a public, will have option to even further promote it to others. When it comes to promotion, number one thing is this, so if you see that we have now, you can, as an organization, get a virtual open house rider that can go on the top of your property signs. And that's something you can order from the store. And so this is, again, just like any other open house, you just put it on there so users know it is there. They can look it up on the site. When they go to the site, they see this big badge about that particular on all your listings. And if you see that closely, it gives you when is the event, and there's a counter, there's a timer which actually gives them a countdown, the 3 hours and 49 minutes are left. And one thing what we do is encourage people to put their email or phone number. This is type of lead capture which we do, and I'll get into the lead capture in a minute. But so the biggest promotion for you is HAR.com will do that. And all of you know the power of promotion of HAR.com to your, for your open houses. So next thing you go into is if you go to your open house, this is your open house page, there's a button which says promote. When you click promote, we give you dynamically created graphics, okay? Let me just tell you that this, if somebody would try to do themselves, it will take a lot more time to create something like that. We build it on the fly in different colors, give you option to pick different sizes. So you can say, I want rectangular, I want stories, I do the a post square. And again, you see, these are created just with your picture there, with your property photo here, where everything is built in seconds. And of course, you can, depending on your company, you can pick a color, what you like to use, and you can do the selection as well. And as soon as you are done, really, you can go in and say, look, I want to put it on my LinkedIn as well. I want to put it on Facebook. I want to tweet it as well. So you can do that. And for Instagram, we do have download. And some agents said that they want to put that on their website or their blog. about the upcoming, so you can do that and copy that. So lead opportunities. Look, everything we do is about bringing more value to the members, and lead generation is the one of the way we do that. You get a report from HR that shows how many leads HR generate. So HR wanted to further that. So as I mentioned to you earlier, there is notify me when the event goes live. That's one type of lead capture. And then this is the same lead capture, which is on the listing, on the open house detail. If you see that as well. One other thing we do is while the open house is going on, user can ask you questions about about what is the HOA fee, what are the different things while they are watching that, or when may say, can you go back to show us this? Anyhow, so anytime they do that, it's required to provide their contact information. So anonymously, everybody can watch it. But if you want to engage with the agent to do that, you really need to fill out. So what we are telling agents to do that throughout the virtual open house. Keep telling people that, hey, if you have any question, please fill it out. I'm here, glad to ask you and answer you any questions. And just let them know that your phone is on do not disturb. So tell them that after half an hour, you will be done. And so if they have any question, they can feel free to call you. And of course, don't forget to turn your phone back to turn it on. Do not disturb, remove that. And here they are asking the questions here. So you see those flow right in front of your screen. But if you are doing this and this is a distraction for you, you can just say, I would like to hide this. So you can press that. And if you look at here, and this is where you will love the virtual open house from that. So you are done with the open house, like the analogy Bob gave. Open house is done, well, that's 2 hours you spent. You cannot repurpose that. You cannot reproduce something. In the virtual open house, you wanted to do that recording becomes part of your listing. So if somebody come one day after, they will see a button say virtual open house is over, request video recording, that you can actually request the video recording of this, and it stays there until you do your next virtual open house. So one of the things which I love that even if we go, and I pray that everything goes well, then we go to normal things, but when it does that, you will see that I will encourage agents to conduct both. So first half an hour, do the virtual open house, and after that, do the regular. That way you have that lead capture always available to you. And I will show you how that lead capture is also on the open house detail, on the mobile app. Everywhere you will see there is request video recording of the virtual open house, which you just did. And when they click on this, this is the page which they come to. So this is, again, a dynamically generated page for you, meaning dynamically generated, meaning it shows your photo, shows the property, all built for you. They can fill it out. And once they fill it out, you get the lead and they get to see the video. And when they click on it, we send the video right away. We send the message to them, to consumer, telling them, hey, video is sent on behalf of agent. So they get this. And again, one other thing you have inside it, you can actually see statistics. So you can see how many times been looked at and all that good stuff. And again, here it is where you request a virtual open house video. And so now let me just get into HR app, that how easy it is to do. Really, when we were building this, we said, look, it need to be very simple for our members to do that. So I can tell you that if you can right now create a video, take a video, any video from your phone, you can create a virtual open house without any problem. And I will tell you, if you are camera shy, don't worry about this. You go there, you start, once you are in the environment, you are looking in and talking about the property, it becomes very easy. I saw agents who were nervous in the beginning. They told their feedback was, when I start going and start recording and talking about the property, it all came natural. It was very simple for them to kind of explain the property they already know about. So really, it's a great experience, and very simple. So the way it does, you just, on the day when you get to the property, you just click on the button to get started. When you do that, it just tells you that, look, you are not live. You have to click this button to click to record. So when you do this, again, it tells you and done. You see this live thing that you are now live, and that's how you know you have gone live. If you and the consumer, right away when you press that button, they actually see that screen right away. So you are live casting it directly on the screens of the users who are waiting to watch the open house. Only thing you really need to know is this bar here at the bottom. That's all. And it got like very few controls there. One is to record, one is to flip the camera. This is a mute, which if you need to mute yourself, you can, but uh, as I'm warned about the video, about not to do that starting of the video. And here is who is watching. So you can see how many people are watching. Just remember, some are anonymous, some have filled out the form. So in any case, you have that information completely available to you. And as we discussed before, messages are coming, you are looking at it, who is it? So one thing which agents do, which I love, is, so for example, if Bob asks a question, so you can say, hey, Bob asked this question about, great question about this, let me go and show you or explain to you. So the audience can constantly seeing a feedback from you where you are actually showing different things, because these questions are really good way for others to kind of look at and also post more questions and fill out that form for lead capture. And when it's done, you see that, okay, so it was 29 minutes. And then what you can do, you can also watch yourself, or you can actually share this with all your contacts. So after the event, you can share with all your contacts and say, hey, look, I just had an open house on this property. Love you to watch it. You can post it on Facebook and do that. And this is a screen where you go back to after the event and you have all the information available with regards to who are the participants, how many people was on the notification request list, who asked the questions, and here it is. You see all the questions which were asked, and there's a button to download the list of the people who filled it out. So again, it's a comprehensive system. It is designed for real estate agents. And so what's coming next? This is something you guys will love, that is we are working right now on trying to, my target is by Friday to launch a campaign on HAR.com front page, which will say virtual open houses around you. And what it does, it kind of lists out open houses which are happening that day. And again, when you are just searching HAR, for example, you did not say 77027, you just search for an area, and we will go and drop a widget in there which will pull all the open houses which are happening that day. So again, driving more traffic to that. And when you users are looking at on the map search, let's suppose they saw a map of all the virtual open houses, they can click it at that time. They can look at the listing detail. They have a basic information here, or they can actually just directly click and say, I would like to see virtual open house. So this is coming. Another thing which is coming, which is awesome, you guys will love. So in this example, this is a hosted virtual open house. So here, Blenda is trying to host open house for a listing, which is by Cheryl. So when Blenda actually fill out the form for this particular property, trying to do an open house for her within her company, okay, she wanted to do that, right? And so what it does is say there's a permission required to email will go to Cheryl, okay, and the office manager. So the system will automatically know this is not your listing. You need a permission for that. And permission can be given to you by the listing agent, by the broker, or it can be the team lead. So that system is already built. And this is why it works very well with Sean's department and my, how they interact and bring. So if you have set up a team in Matrix, it will come here and works perfectly. Other thing is, this is also a great news that I talked to the development team this morning. They are done with their part. They are on almost finishing up where these virtual open houses will now be pushed into Matrix as well. So that's something which is working. And so when you add open houses on HAR.com, these open houses are also going to go inside Matrix as well. So you add it, it will be pushed. You don't have to do anything. It'll automatically go into Matrix, automatically goes to HAR.com. So before I go to my second segment, which is talked about the 3D, I would like to open up for the questions. So if you can.
Yeah, you're not going to believe this, Taki. There are a lot of questions for you.
That's awesome. That's
yeah, so various people asking whether they can record the virtual open house ahead of time.
So that would be a video. That would be a video recording, and you can do that. But I had other people. So video recording, there's a link for video recording already that you can put in. So if you recorded a video, you can put that in there. And that would be considered as a video link inside Matrix. But if you want to do, I understand the concern from member side that, hey, we can just do the video and upload it. So one thing which you have to understand, you want to do something which can generate leads and do that. This to us, I can assure you, it excites people that they are coming to watch a live event. People are ready to look at that, and they will ask you questions during that. So if you do a recorded one, it kills all the functionality which are engagement opportunities. It would not have that. So try that. I'll tell you is, and by the way, just to let you know, it will come out very natural when you are going through, you are seeing live users asking you questions and you're looking at their feedback, and really, really, the end product will be much more better experience other than you just going to house and just recording a video.
Taki, why don't you explain where they can go look at some other examples of people that have already done it to see what to do and what not to do? So
as soon as, Bob, we launch this on Friday, they will have access to that. One thing which I can do is I can actually add, one of the agents which did a very good video, we can share that with the audience. That is an agent, Barbara, that agent, Belinda, she did it, which was a very good, well done, and we could share that. But I will tell you that I'm very confident that agents would have no problem with this. It's very simple. It's just, you're just talking about the property, and again, you are not putting the camera on your face, so you can put that in the beginning to do that. But after that, you're just pointing to the property, showing different features of the property. With regards to, some agents are using gimbal, right? So that is like a stabilizer. They are different type. You can use those. That is helpful.
Okay.
With regards to do that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I want to get through some of these other questions here, Taki. Is there a practice mode for the virtual open house? I would say practice on your phone, right? Just on the camera?
Yeah. Exactly. It's so simple. I'm just saying to you is really one thing you can do, okay? If you go to, for example, but go to a real property, wherever you go, just make sure, just make sure there's a good signal there. It's not a bad signal,
Right.
And again, but it should work. Your LTE connection, which most of us have, it should be good.
Excellent. A lot of people asking, how much does this cost?
So this is free to all during this time, but this is a platinum service, which most of the members are platinum members, um, 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 analyst subscribers. So definitely this will be available to them at no additional cost. And for those who are not platinum, they are welcome to use that during this pandemic.
That's great. Thank you so much. Okay, so a few other questions. Um, can hosted open houses only be done for listings within your own firm? And if so, why is that?
So that's a very good question. So first phase is to do that. So what we are trying to do now, same approach like that, and I'm presenting to Technology Advisory Group to do virtual showings. Virtual showings would be where you can actually do a showing for any property. Okay, you can go do a showing for any property, you take an appointment, you do it, but then what you are doing is you are marketing and doing and sharing it with your customers. People have to be your customers to do that. So even you can promote in Facebook or other places, but they have to fill out a form to show that they are your contact, but then they can watch it. It's not a public showing. It's a private showing, meaning to you and your customers can do that. So this is something we are working on. And so that would be where it will be like a virtual open house, but it's not going to be an open house because it's not open to everyone. It's open to your customers.
That's great. So there's a little bit of confusion here, and I know you're about to get into the 3D and 360 cameras and things like that. So there's some question about the benefit of using that. So Taki will get into that in just a second. I do see a lot of questions coming in about just stabilizers and getting comfortable on camera and practicing. I will take just a quick moment to plug Member Focus Monday because we are going to have HAR's Director of Video Services, Claudia Hernandez, coming on, and she's going to be talking about all of those things. So be sure to tune in Monday at 9 a.m. on our Facebook page so that you can get all of those questions answered, because she has a lot of great tips and suggestions and tools to share with you. So be on the lookout for that. Would sellers have to agree to others videoing and promoting their house online?
So this question is, if you have a 3D tour, 3D tour provide every detail of the house. You can zoom in, zoom out. So really, if you have photos, if you have these things, there's no difference between that and a recording. Actually, it's more secure because the person who's coming is a licensed real estate agent who's coming and doing a showing of that property to the audience. So really, in a virtual world and the physical world, there's not much difference other than that these are, again, that's why we said that would be my customers who I'm showing it to. So I will actually bring 500 people to see this house because now with the virtual, I have that opportunity. So you can go into a property, invite all your customers to say, look, I'm going to show this property which just came to the market. So really unbelievable tool for buyer agents, as well, where they can actually go in and use that. And then they can use their own promotion to promote that, to have more people sign up to watch that virtual showing, but they have to fill out a customer agreement, which is just fill out the lead capture form. I think you're
That was
mute.
a rookie mistake. Sorry about that. Two more questions. Who gets the lead on a hosted open house?
Of course, it's the agent who's hosting it.
Very good.
Yeah. And
Go
just to let you know, listing agent will only see how many people showed up. So they will see that okay, only 5 people or 50 people showed up in this, watch that video, right? But listing agent, but the showing, the hosting, the agent who's hosting it, belongs to the hosting agent. Yeah.
Okay. So, and some confusion about when all of this launches.
Available. So just to let you know, everything is available to you with a virtual open house to do a virtual open house. Hosted open house will be available to you tomorrow. Okay, we are launching it today. I just don't know what time. I would like to do it as soon as possible to provide it to you, but it is you will have it tomorrow.
Okay. And a few people asking about training. We do have some video tutorials that we are creating, so we should have those to you hopefully by the end of this week. One more question that I saw a few people asking to Key, and I don't know if you know this, but somebody or several people asked, when is the best time to host an open house? Does it need to be a weekend? What time of day? So do you have any suggestions there?
Actually, this is a great question. Okay, we can just look it up and search on the Google to really find out during what is the best time for the users. I have not done that research, but I can very confident that a quick look up on Google can give you what is the time where best time to target users are. So during this time.
And I think right now it's probably a little more open. We don't have to just stick to the regular open house hours that we might be used to, right?
That's true. And again, you don't have to wait for Sundays to. That's the beauty of that. I mean, really, you don't need to. I think the part which is missing is the HAR to promote that, to bring more traffic to that. And we are working on that. So you will see a lot of people will be attending that. And Christina, if you can post a link to the guide, the virtual open house guide, that would be great. So they can actually use that.
Yeah, that's great. Let's go ahead and get into the next part of your presentation there, Taki, because there's some questions about it.
Yeah, I think somebody is answering a question about that. What was the best time? So that's great. All right, so let's get into 3D view. So when it comes to 3D is, again, same thing is, what can we do to highlight the property? One thing we saw some agent had the 3D, but we did not have a clear indication of the 3D tour. What is the 3D tour? How do we distinguish between the 3D tours and like a slideshow? So we first said, okay, let's identify that and highlight those as phase one. Phase two was use the 3D. If you already have a camera which does a 360 photos, let them build a gallery on har.com, which at no cost will be hosted, and you will just need the photos. And so if you have already a Theta camera or a Ricoh camera or any other, you can really go and just create that. That's phase two. Phase three is to build an app which actually allow you to use the camera and connect that with the app, with HAR app to do this. So right now we are working on that, and I'll go through each one of them very quickly. So 3D tours, again, we had all different type of tours on har.com, and really when you talk about a tour which is a 3D, we are talking about something which gives a immersive experience, meaning you can go in, you can zoom in, zoom out, you can pan right, left, you can go from one room to another room. That to us is really 3D. So when we look at it, it was a Matterport, and some of you who have taken your photos or using the Zillow to put it up there. So these were the only two which we found. So beautiful images from slideshows and all. They are wonderful, but they are not 3D. Same here. So 3D is, as I mentioned to you, got this type of anchor there that you can click on, go from room 1 to room 2 and all this. And for example, this is example of Matterport, which kind of have these type of steps where you can click on it, go to different areas, zoom in. So what we did is we said, okay, let's find those properties. So what we do now, you have a virtual tour link already. Now you can actually add a new link there for 3D, and which will, as soon as you have the 3D icon will show up on the property. You go in, and this is here on site, also on the app, you will have the 3D. So 3D now, on the map search throughout HAR, we have put the 3D icons, so it is visible and very prominently displayed to consumers. because according to Zillow, you know, your traffic can increase 190% if this is something visibly icon is there for 3D. So when you come to phase 2 of this, where you already have these type of pictures, right? These are the 360 pictures. Most of the cameras take that, right? So you just come to HAR, search for 3D, and you have this. You can just plug in and say, look, I want to just upload those 3D pictures. You go ahead and upload those pictures. All the pictures will show up here, and you can do this by floor 1, floor 2, and you can do that. And once you have the photos, then one thing which you want to do, you want to connect them to one picture to other picture, or it's very, very simple. Okay. I just wanted to let you know, when we design products, we make sure that we keep really very simple. So when you do this, for example, this is the picture you want to link to, you can, you can go in, let's suppose, inside it, I'm trying to add, I can click anywhere on the screen here. And when I click it, I get to see this box comes up and I get to pick which picture I wanted to put it in. So I can create as many hotspots as I want to inside it. Okay, so in this example, what I'm showing you, this is the photo, and I have actually created 2 hotspots. One hotspot is here, hotspot is just like a link to an area where user can click and go to a different room. And we have some examples where agents have already done that on HAR. But what it does, it creates this beautiful gallery for you. Good advantage is that typically Matterport or other provider, they will charge you fee for hosting. For you, that's available. Okay, this hosting will be on HAR. It's going to be not for 1 year subscription, or it's going to be for rest of for the life of the listing on HAR. So this is a great way for you to highlight your properties right now by creating 3D, uploading your photos. Media Uploader app is a new app which is about to deploy. This is something which will take about 2 weeks. We are working on this right now. So what it does, it is a management system for your media of all your photos for your listing. So you go to a listing, you can actually pick, I want to do a 3D tour, I wanted to add photos, I want to add video, you can add an audio. So all these things you can just do directly with this app for your listing. But the one I want to highlight right now is 3D. So what it does, it uses Ricoh camera, and what you need, a Ricoh camera, HAR app, and a monopod. So the way it works is very simple. We will have inside an app button which will say connect to my camera, and you will connect your camera. What it does, it have a serial number or a QR code that you can scan, which will it will read and register that as a device inside HAR app. Very simple. We will have a video instructions and everything available for you. But once you have that, you just go is turn it on, put it on the monopod, and from there just go out of the way and just make sure you position the phone wherever you want to. You can just touch it and position it, and once you position it, you say, I'm ready to shoot, and you click processing, and boom, it takes a picture. So here's your picture right away, and you can actually then write a name to this area. So for example, you say kitchen, and if you want to add description, you can do or not. But then you can keep going and adding it. But the end result is you don't have to upload any photo to the gallery anymore. You can just do this tool. And what it will do is when you publish this, when you're done with this, it will allow you to push that into Matrix. So it will become available on har.com and Matrix as soon as possible. Just remember, some of these are large files. We'll start the download. The download takes time unless you are on a Wi-Fi. So one thing we recommend the agents to do is take it there, all the pictures, once you have that, and then when you come home, you can connect them. You can connect them from a desktop or from mobile device. Once you connect them, you have a tour ready. And then you can actually just hit publish. And of course, at that time you are in Wi-Fi, so it will be very, very quick and it will be published. And so that ends there. And as I mentioned to you, live showing is something new we are also exploring, and it will be coming soon as well. Yeah.
Excellent, Taki. So questions about how much is this going to cost, the 3D?
So 3D is, as Renee mentioned, Bob mentioned, it is, HAR got a really good deal. So this is right now, you
Oh,
can
they don't mean the camera. They were just talking about the feature.
So feature, as I mentioned to you, there are three parts of the feature. The part one of the feature was, we were talking about to have the 3D icon. If you have a 3D and the icon is not there, send an email to support@HAR. We can add that provider as long as 3D, okay? We will be glad to do that. So if you are missing that, we'd be glad to do that. Please do look at har.com. If it doesn't have the 3D, let us know, right? At no cost, it's available right now. Second thing is that you can do upload the gallery, 3D gallery to build it is available, no cost. You don't need anything. Third thing is this, we are working on the camera function and to do that, to streamline that. And that will take about 2 weeks. It's not available yet. And after 2 weeks, it will be available again at no cost during the pandemic era.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much, Taki. So I see some questions for people who ordered the Ricoh camera. I would, if you already ordered it, we are processing the orders in the order they were received. So just contact our Super Center and they can let you know maybe a time frame on that. Let's see, a few other things. A lot of people asking if this is recorded. Yes, this is recorded. If you were registered on the Zoom, you will receive a recording of it, but also we were streaming it to Facebook Live. So it's obviously going to be on our Facebook page as well. So you can watch it from the beginning if you missed anything from there. Can we use a panoramic view photo?
No, panoramic view would not be supported.
Okay, and can you repeat the pricing for the Ricoh camera?
It's $319.
And that's the savings of, I believe it was $379 or $369, I think. So that's good savings. Very good. And can we use other cameras outside of that Ricoh Theta V camera?
Yeah, if it's able to produce 360 photos, yeah, absolutely. So you want to use a GoPro, whatever it is, as long as it is 360 images, we can support that.
Okay. Tanya said, does this camera replace a photographer? And can I take my own pictures?
Yes. So one thing which you would be very delighted. So I actually, based on our members' request, so when you do 360, first of all, let me just tell you that right now, you don't need to worry about the quality of this. As long as you have enough lights on, I mean, the camera is a 4K camera. It's going to do it. You are not doing anything. It's going to circle around to take that, right? So the agent asked a question in one of the sessions, was that same question about what do I need? What about the still photos? Well, guess what? We are building right now a system where you can actually take this from the 360 views. You can take as many photos you want to. You can have 50 photos done. So let's suppose if I have a 360 of a room, which have fireplace on one side, which have let's suppose a kitchen on the other side. I can just turn around, take a picture of the fireplace area, turn around on the other side, take a picture of the kitchen, you know. So you can do as many photos as you want with that. But that functionality, we are working on that. But once that is built, you really do not need a photographer. But just to let you know, photographer have many other services as well. They clean up the photos, they do remarkable job with the lighting and things of that nature. So up to you how you want to do that. But definitely, the quality is not going to be low quality. These are 4K cameras.
Okay, very good. Just a quick word for those of you that might be looking up the Ricoh camera on our website, you might see that it shows it's $1. That is not the price of the camera. That is the deposit for the camera. So you will pay the balance upon delivery once they come in. So for now, you can reserve yours for $1, and then you'll pay the remainder for the $319 once it's available. A lot of questions about the monopod. Since if you ordered a Ricoh camera through HAR, it does not come with a monopod. Taki, do you have suggestions on what they should do there?
I think Renee and I we discussed that there's many options available on the website and where you can find. But I think you can actually. Richard is working on a guide for this where he have recommendation of different monopods and all of that. You can do that. We are not reselling or any of that. So really, it's just a recommendation what you can do. Stabilizer as well, we'll let you a stabilizer. So again, these are sort of recommendations which will be, and it could be a little bit less expensive than Ricoh's branded one. Those can be a little bit more expensive. If you go by yourself, you can get a little bit saving there. Very good. A lot of people are asking, can more than one agent use the camera? Of course, it would be your camera. So yes. And again, for those of you that are asking about tripods and stabilizers and things like that, we do have some tutorial videos coming out this week. And also HAR's Director of Video Services, Claudia Hernandez, will be on Member Focus Monday, this coming Monday at 9 a.m. right here on our Facebook page. So make sure you tune in for that because a lot of these questions will be answered there. Before I show some information that I need to share with everybody, did you gentlemen have anything else you want to share? I will take that as a no. And so if you are tuning in on Facebook, you might not have known that this was actually, you just attended an area networking meeting. This was the area networking meeting, virtual open area networking meeting for many area networking groups. I just want to mention all the area networking groups that were involved here. If you are a member who's never attended an area networking meeting, stay tuned because you're about to hear about a lot of them. So the Montgomery County Area Networking Group, they meet every other month. We also, and you can see kind of their sponsors here, they meet at the Do-Si-Do Big Barn on I-45 North. We also have Lake Houston, and you see there HAR Lake Houston. They meet at Walden on Lake Houston. They meet quarterly. The Bay Area Breakfast, they meet at Luby's in Deer Park, and they meet monthly, and theirs is a breakfast, not a lunch. We also have Pearland Alvin Friendswood Realtor Network. They meet at Golf Crest Country Club the first Thursday of the month. We also have the Fort Bend Area Networking Group. They meet at Sugar Creek Country Club, and they meet on the third Thursday. Katy Area Networking Group meet at Willow Fort Country Club on, that's monthly on the second Thursday. 290 actually meet monthly on the second Wednesday at the Dragonfly Park in Bridgeland. And the Greater Northwest Networking Breakfast, they meet at the Ravenel Country Club monthly. Now, that I know that was quick, but we just wanted to thank all of our area networking groups and their sponsors. And you can actually find all of these area networking groups on the HAR Connect page. You can see a calendar of the events. Obviously, right now, a lot of this is not being done in person, it's being done virtually, but if you are in any of those areas that were listed, I would go look up these area networking groups because they do put on events very often when we are under normal circumstances with great information for you guys to be on the lookout for. So I believe that is it for today's session. Any last words, gentlemen?
Hit a plug for the census for our good friend, Shad.
Yes, so if you have not completed the census, I would take 5 minutes to go complete your census and share this with your clients and customers. It only benefits all of us for us to complete the census. Anything else? A lot of thank yous coming in.
Just to let members know that we're here, we're thinking about you, you know, we're here to support you, and we need your feedback. That's the way we make these tools better. We get feedback from members and we act on it. So please let us know your thoughts.
Very good. All right, well, that is it for this virtual event. Again, don't forget, if you are wanting to see Dr. Ted C. Jones tomorrow, go to har.com/webinars, that is plural, webinars, and you can register for that there. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lucia.
Thank you.
Thank you.